Helen Greer looks out her front window to see a fog of death approaching her home. With fear smothering her mind, she does the only thing she can do and runs into the custom-built storm shelter in her home. As the winds envelop the home, Helen is killed.
What? YouTube, we back. We back. It's your boy, the one J Ocean. We back with another reaction. Tornado TRX, my boy. The man coming in with all the tornado videos, man. Check his channel out. I want everybody to go watch this man's channel, subscribe to him. The man does great analysis and breaks down every little thing about a tornado to be happening. And even shows you the visuals of the path and stuff. So shout out to Tornado TRX. The link gonna be the original video gonna be in the description below. Y'all already know. We give credit to those who make the videos. We just react to them, man. Come on, man. This tornado is the VILONIA Tornado. I think that's how you say it, VILONIA. I'm guessing. I don't know. I might be saying it wrong. Apologies if I'm wrong. I'm not an English major, but you know. Hey man, we're gonna react to this VILONIA tornado. We still here, you know what I'm saying? This gonna be third straight tornado video. You know what I'm saying? We like the tornado stuff. I'm very intrigued about tornadoes. I don't want to see one. I don't want to see one. I like being alive. But I'm very intrigued by watching them, and it's crazy to see them, like, you know what I'm saying, do their thing. It's a weird thing. You're like almost enthralled and just locked in on seeing it. It's like you can't take your eyes off it. It's like watching a superstar or something. Like oh shit, I don't normally see this. You know what I'm saying? Like it's almost like, I guess some people, like, they got their favorite stars or whatever, and they get starstruck and they're like, oh shit, that's so and so. They just following them around. But yeah, man, hey. We're going to check out this VILONIA tornado, the strongest tornado in decades. We're going to see.
It's the evening of April 27th, 2014, and Helen Greer looks out her front window to see a fog of death approaching her home. With fear smothering her mind, she does the only thing she can do and runs into the custom-built storm shelter in her home. As the winds envelop the home, Helen is killed.
What? Damn, she got a home, like a own storm shelter built in, and she still died? Damn.
The year is 2011, and VILONIA residents are cleaning up from an intense EF2 tornado that tore directly through the town. While to some, an EF2...
So I got some type of knowledge of tornadoes when it comes to the EF scales. You really don't base the EF scale or grade a tornado until afterwards, most of the time, when you see the destruction. That's how they mostly gain, you know, the EF scales. Afterwards, when you see the destruction, you can kind of be like, oh, this had this much wind power or whatever, I guess. To my knowledge. You know, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure they don't grade them EFs until afterwards. Because the tornado can be super big but not do that much damage. Or not have that much wind, like, you know, power and stuff like that. And one could be small, but then, like, do some EF5 damage. It'd be crazy. So...
a lower end rating would be nothing to gawk at. The residents in VILONIA were still affected for life. Little did they know, it would only take 3 years for another tornado to strike. The forecasters of the National Weather Service just issued a 4 out of 5 risk for central Arkansas, and the reason was terrifying. The forecast called for intense, long-track tornadoes. A local meteorologist, Greg D., would announce, "I'm definitely concerned that any thunderstorm that forms over Arkansas will form a tornado tomorrow." All the ingredients were perfectly lining up, and little did they know the outcome would be way worse than they could have ever imagined. It's the morning of the event, and things have only gotten worse. The National Weather Service begins analyzing computer models for the day, and they only become more concerned. Even more storms than expected were being forecasted over Arkansas, and atmospheric ingredients like CAPE, which measure the energy needed to produce storms, were rising to upwards of 4,000 joules per kilogram, an almost freakish level of instability in the air. Due to these measurements and predictions, the forecasters made the difficult decision to upgrade a rare 5 out of 5 high risk for tornadoes over central Arkansas, cementing the idea that things were about to get ugly. Before we continue, I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, War Thunder. War Thunder is a 5 million experience storm watching for a typhoon. War Thunder new play 100,000 action video, Arkansas. As the 4 hours, storms bubbled up and died out across central Arkansas. As the sun began to set, forecasters wondered if their warnings had been wrong. That's exactly when near Murfreesboro, I
don't want to really stop too much or talk over the video too much, because I know y'all hear from my reaction and stuff, but I'm kind of locked in like y'all are probably, bro. Like, I'm just like, oh shit, what's gonna happen next? It's like Tornado TRX. He kind of takes you along for the ride. Like, it's like a movie, a little short film.
The final storm, essentially the last one of the day, began to grow. Within the hour, it continued to grow, becoming the dominant storm in the atmosphere. At the same time, wind shear values begin to ramp up, especially near the surface, where nearly 60 miles per hour of rotating air enters the storm, allowing it to begin spinning. Within just a couple of frames, the supercell rapidly organizes, and at 7:06 p.m., a tornado would touch the ground. In Conway, Arkansas, 30 miles to the north, storm chaser Ian Gates was tracking the radar intensely. After a day full of false alarms, this storm looked different. He grabbed his equipment and headed east, knowing he'd need to position himself ahead of the storm's path. What he didn't know was he was about to witness the most violent tornado he's ever seen. Most tornadic storms start off weak, brushing the ground and gaining their bearings. But this storm was not like most. Within 34 seconds of the vortex touching the ground, it would grow to nearly half a mile wide, and the damage was incredible. Unfortunately, the tornado wasn't touching the ground in the middle of nowhere. In fact, it would be turning into a monster directly over a neighborhood. Carrie Tittle saw the tornado warning on her TV and looked out her window to get a view of it. She stated, "It was really a strange sort of green to the atmosphere. I saw trees starting to lay down, and we ran for the center hall."
This is crazy how technology has come. This fucker's on the fucking device, like a moving treadmill almost. It's kind of crazy.
Carrie, her husband, and her 9 children hid under the stairwell of their home. The safest place Carrie could think of. The roar of the vortex became deafening, and suddenly, the entire home was swept off the foundation. 3 of the Tittles, the father, Rob, 20-year-old Tori, and 14-year-old Rebecca, would be killed instantly. The tragedy was almost unfounded. A tornado moving at highway speeds went from invisible to horrifically strong within seconds. And this was far from all it would do. As the path began northeast, 3 miles to the east, Matthew Grant would also receive a tornado warning and peer out his window to see the vortex racing through the hills.
You can't, you can see like it's some shit going on, but you can't really see shit. That man,
can be seen
he got his house isolated,
remarkably wide, with bands of rain partially obscuring it, turning it into more of a hazy fog than a tornado. The vortex would slightly wobble.
I know this too. A rain rat tornado is the worst. The worst. You can't see shit. You can't see shit. It's the worst. A rain rat tornado and a rain rat tornado at night, boy. Nope. There's a lot of storm chasers though. Don't fuck with those, or they stay really far from it.
In size and intensity after this, potentially gaining its bearings as it moved towards the small town of North Point, Arkansas. A group of homes south of North Point is the next target. As the tornado intensifies and completely shreds the area, trees in this area would begin to be debarked, and the top layer of soil would be scoured away, evidence that within the unstable vortex, an incredibly strong core was emerging. It continues to shred trees as it approaches North Point, slightly weakening again and only tearing the roofs off a couple of homes and sparing the majority of the North Point area. This was strange, as earlier the tornado was causing virtually the highest level of destruction. The reason for this variation, and possibly for the rapid formation of the tornado itself, could have something to do with the topography of the area. The tornado's track formed over a mountain ridge known as Brush Mountain, but directly under the ridge, over 1,000 feet below, was the Tittle Home. It's possible a phenomenon known as downsloping occurred here, whereas winds move from very high to very low elevations. Gravity accelerates them downhill, making them much more intense. These winds could have not only enhanced the existing tornadic winds, but also siphoned ingredients into the storm, causing it to intensify and mature at an incredible rate. This would make sense, as after the Tittle Home, elevation would ease out. It's clear that something was fueling the storm to behave this way, and it was nowhere near stopping. Past North Point, the storm would cross through more hills and forests, emerging over the massive Lake Maumelle. At the same time, James Harris, an employee for Central Arkansas Water, was doing late-day checks of the water levels of the lake. As he walked out on the equipment pier, he would spot a dark mass over the water.
I'm not sure what the fuck that is, but that might be a tornado.
That motherfucker said, I'm not sure what the fuck that is, but it might be a tornado. Yo, I'm not sure what the fuck that is.
Oh, here comes the wind. I think that's a tornado.
Yeah.
As the tornado crawls over the lake, it
You're right.
continues to grow in size, turning day into night as it expands to nearly a mile wide. Crossing Lake Maumelle also meant it was now beelining directly for the town of Mayflower, Arkansas. It narrowly misses a group of homes south of Roland as it scales more elevation, but past the elevation sits the massive Arkansas River, another almost 1,000 feet of elevation loss. Mom,
Shit.
Kelly Thompson, would film from a neighborhood atop a hill where the tornado would again appear to be remarkably massive.
Yeah, that shit like it's coming right at her.
The National Weather Service would now realize the situation unfolding, as the tornado showed no signs of stopping and now had a massive debris ball on radar, indicative of a large tornado lofting debris thousands of feet into the air. With the path aimed straight for the town,
she's shooting
a
at
tornado
140
emergency would be issued for the
144
town of
144
Mayflower. The emergency
bruh.
reads: Storm spotters and National Weather Service Doppler radar
Good Lord.
were tracking a large and extremely dangerous
Quality
tornado.
sucks.
This is a tornado emergency for Mayflower and Vilonia. Take cover now. Roughly 1/3 of all Arkansas tornadoes occur after dark. Do not wait. Take cover now. Directly across the Arkansas River sat a neighborhood of large homes called the River Plantation subdivision. And with the tornado only getting stronger, a worst-case situation was unfolding. One of the homeowners, Tanara Haney, was outside as the storm approached. As the sky began to turn to a murky green, she would begin to film what she was seeing. While the tornado is pretty much completely wrapped in rain over the river, it's very clear something is wrong. Tanara's video ends at 7:24 p.m. and just 60 seconds later, Tanara would take one last image out of her window. The wedge tornado would slam into the River Plantation neighborhood at 7:26 p.m. Inside the core of the tornado, everything it touched would be completely shredded. An enormous 6,000 square foot home in the neighborhood would be nearly flattened to the ground.
Damn.
The tornado would not just stop near the first half of the neighborhood, as a line of homes to the northeast would be impacted as well. This is where the unimaginable would occur, as Helen Greer ran inside her home, which was directly in the center of the path. Her and her husband would shelter inside the pre-installed above-ground storm cellar. As the extreme winds wiped the rest of their
we already
home
know what
off its
happened here.
foundation, a chunk of debris impacted the shelter's door, causing it to cave in and fail. Wind and shrapnel blasted into the cellar, throwing Helen against one of the concrete walls and sadly killing her. Her husband would survive with major injuries. Not many images or videos of the tornado exist beyond this point, It's presumed with the incredible strength and growing size of the tornado, it also became rain-wrapped to the point of invisibility. This is confirmed by some of the only images we do have, which essentially show a dark haze. Exiting the River Plantation subdivision, the vortex would cross over a line of homes, shredding multiple to piles of debris. Something else sat in the path, however, an electrical substation providing power to most of the town of Mayflower.
This is just a question too, real quick. Like, would y'all seeing a tornado come at y'all? What is y'all first plan? Like, if you see it in the distance, do you try to drive away or do you try to bunker down? Like, obviously, if it's about to hit you in like a few minutes, you don't try to drive away. But like, if you feel like you have time to drive away, do you? Just a thought.
Squarely in the path, and within just a couple of seconds, the town's power would go out. The substation would be turned into a mangled mess. Multiple transmission towers were turned to meshes of metal, and millions of dollars in damages would be inflicted. Even worse though, if the residents hadn't noticed the warnings by now, there was little hope they would become aware of them.
Yeah, you can't get nothing
Northeast of the substation, a group of rural homes sat. Multiple of them, some not even in the direct path, would be completely swept off their slabs. Also in the vicinity, trees were flattened in large swaths as the tornado continued to grow in width. It was now entering the town of Mayflower, Arkansas. As the vortex closed in, drivers on the interstate had no idea there was a tornado heading straight for them. One of the drivers, Cotton Rorschach, would film from his dashcam as he drives straight into the tornado.
Oh wow. That's it right there. Yeah.
That's it right there. We're gonna drive into it. What the fuck? Dude. That's it right there. We're gonna drive into that bitch, man.
Guys,
What the fuck, dude?
my ears are popping.
Dude. Yeah, your ears are popping because you're about to ride into a fucking tornado, brother.
Alright, we're pulling over. Oh crap, we're in it.
Yeah, we are.
We're in it.
Oh my god.
Ian Gates was getting closer now, fighting through the rain bands that
That shit ended
obscured
up-
his view. The tornado had grown so large that even from miles away, he could see the dark mass moving directly through Mayflower. The center of the town would be directly impacted by the violent winds. In a neighborhood near the center of town, a 50-year-old man would die as his entire home was lofted into the air and pulverized. Large industrial warehouses and structures would be mangled down to their frames and flattened, and vehicles on the interstate would be thrown and mangled. One vehicle maintenance shop would be torn to nothing as the tornado left toward the northeastern side of town. The carnage would be filmed by others on the
it's so
interstate
crazy how
who dodged the
tornadoes can
worst of the winds.
Of course, it's low quality, bro. This is 2014, bro. They phones wasn't that good. And everybody
Near
couldn't
the
afford
town,
the best phone
another
possible.
massive lake, Lake Conway, sat with multiple lake homes and communities nearby. As the tornado crosses over the body of water, another neighborhood would be directly impacted, leveling over a dozen homes. 82-year-old Robert Oliver would be instantly killed as his home was swept away, crossing over the first half of the lake. A brief separation between the communities in Highway 89 would spare multiple lives, as one man photographed the dark mass leaving the area. The tornado would finish crossing the lake at 7:45 p.m., meaning it had been on the ground for over 45 minutes,
Damn!
remaining almost entirely wrapped in rain and debris. Rural areas of forest would
It been
continue
on that
to be
ground that
shredded,
long?
but something was different about the damage here. The path began to become shaky and shrink slightly, and this was no coincidence. To the north, an extensive stretch of the Wichita Mountains spanned through the area, and the tornado was now encountering some of the most extreme elevation changes it would experience. Even though it was passing directly over homes and structures, very minimal damage was being inflicted. It was almost as if the tornado was beginning to end. That's exactly when a sudden change would occur. As the storm cleared the mountain, the vortex would begin to once again rapidly and violently strengthen. Two brick homes just underneath the mountain ridge would be completely swept, with hardly any debris remaining on the foundation. The ground would begin to be scoured away again, this time in a much more violent fashion,
Damn.
and trees were flattened, and in some cases, mulched. One woman, Sharon Holland, would take the only known photo of the tornado in this area near her storm shelter as it approached. While the photo is incredibly low quality, it would show
Damn, shout out to you to this bitch with a fucking BlackBerry. This shit look like the first flip phone with a camera. What is this? Good lord, man. Didn't nobody give their mama an upgrade?
the tornado,
That's
now
2014,
slightly
ain't it?
smaller, almost as if it was regaining its bearings.
Good lord.
Countless mobile homes and weak structures would
Man,
be
check
essentially
out the first
shredded
fucking
as the
picture
tornado
phone.
began to speed up, peaking as fast as 50 miles per hour through the hilly terrain. The vortex now had its sights on Vilonia, and unless it was planning on weakening as quickly
Oh,
as it
shit.
intensified, Vilonia would be leveled. The
Oh,
intensity
shit.
would not let up. It was almost as if something was rapidly fueling the storm. The entire top layer of Earth was being dug up now.
Told you, Mother Nature
exposing
ain't.
the
They
reddish
don't
brown
fucking.
mulch
They don't
of the
discriminate,
terrain.
bro.
The tornado here was also intersecting the path of the EF2 just 3 years prior, and in some cases,
Ain't that a
it was
bitch?
finishing off the job of abandoned homes and properties
That
that
motherfucker
were
said
only
it's
partially
finishing
destroyed.
the job.
Every home in the direct
man,
path
TRX
was
said
swept
it's
away,
finishing
with
the
some
job.
mobile home frames never being
Bruh.
found again. The tornado was now entering the outskirts of Vilonia. This is where it would make a name for itself. The first actual neighborhood of
Oh,
Vilonia
boy.
would be a line of brick homes along Cody Lane. As the core crossed over the road, every single home in the subdivision was swept away. In one home, the Smith family, consisting of Mom, April, Dad, Daniel, and 2 boys, Tyler and Cameron, were thrown with the debris hundreds of yards away. One of April's close friends, Hope, saw the tornado on the news and urged her husband to drive to the Smith home to check on them. When he arrived at the home, April continued to text him. "Please tell me they are okay. Are they hurt? Are they alive? Please tell me they are alive." He would respond, "I can't." While April and Daniel were left in critical condition, the 2 boys, Tyler and Cameron, would pass away at the hospital. They were only 7 and 8 years old. The scene near the Smiths' home looked more akin to a bomb than a tornado. The ground looked like it was bulldozed, and tiny bits of granulated homes from the neighborhood lay behind the stretch of houses.
Man, bro.
A recently built, large
Shit's sad,
brick
dude.
house was pulverized to nothing next door
Shit's
as the
sad.
tornado continued to chew through the terrain of Vilonia. Another fatality would occur on the highway next, as 50-year-old Jamie Collins would get caught in the circulation,
No.
attempting to outrun it in her car. On the same highway just to the east, Ian Gates was now positioned with his camera to capture the tornado as it passed in front of him.
Can't even see that shit. Shit rain rack. You can't see it though. Like, I don't care if you circled it or not. I can see it better now. Yeah, that shit closer now, buddy. Brother. Brother. It's pretty fucking close. Again, this quality is garbage. This quality is trash!
This would be the only video footage we have of the tornado inside Vilonia as it crossed the road and entered more sporadically populated areas in town. The carnage didn't cease. Home after home was swept away. Debris was granulated. Trees and even bushes were stripped of their bark, and cars were mangled to their frames. The tornado's core would sideswipe a newly built concrete and steel middle school, and yet still, the
Damn.
steel would bend, buckle, and collapse, requiring the entire structure to be torn down and rebuilt. The vortex would
long as
cross
there ain't no
through
kids in
open
it, bro.
terrain after this, beelining directly for the densely populated center of Vilonia. Every home
You can't rebuild a life. You can rebuild buildings. So you can always rebuild buildings. You can't rebuild a life. You lose a life, that's hard, bro. It's tough.
Building it touched
As long as
would
there
be
weren't no kids in that
pulverized.
school, you
On
can
one
rebuild the
street,
school.
morbidly named Cemetery Road, every home on the road would be destroyed, sadly killing a couple living in one. Downtown Vilonia was quite literally left in smithereens. Some
man.
areas were buried under piles of dirt and mulch the tornado had dug up, and bits of cars and mangled oak trees mixed in with the carnage. The tornado was intensifying here, and even after downtown Vilonia, another target would end up in the crosshair of the tornado. This target would make the tornado infamous. The Parkwood Meadows subdivision was a new subdivision of tightly packed suburban homes. Little did the residents know.
Oh
the
no. Fuck you ass. But oh no, wait, so this bitch about to hit a
homes were
fucking
built with
new built
shortcuts.
homes?
Instead of using proper
A new built
anchors
neighborhood?
like bolts for the new home, the builders chose a cheap option: cut nails. These provide essential
The builders chose the cheap option. I bet you the fucking house wasn't cheap. Y'all motherfuckers are dirty, bro. Y'all are dirty, bro. The builders chose the cheap material. Y'all motherfuckers want to choose cheap material.
essentially no resistance to extreme winds.
Oh my
As the
god.
unbelievably strong tornado sliced directly through the subdivision. Almost every home was wiped clean. In one home, 22-year-old Jeffrey Hunter heard the tornado approaching. He texted his mom, "Goodbye, Mama. It's heading right for me." Jeffrey's mom would reply, "I love you, Jeff. You'll make it." Despite properly sheltering in the house, nothing remained of the home, and Jeffrey would not make it, passing away instantly. Across the road, 31-year-old Daniel Wassam would suffer the same fate, protecting his
Bro, the fact that that's a brave kid, bro. That's a brave kid, dude. Like, knowing imminent, like, cause you can't fucking say, "Oh, I'm just gonna make it." You can believe and have faith, obviously, but knowing damn near pretty much imminent death's coming at you, the fucking devil itself is coming at you in a fucking storm, and you still have like the courage to just like at least, or the wherewithal to still just text your mom, but like, "Mom, I love you. It's coming right for me." And the mom's trying to be encouraged and saying you'll make it. Of course you want to believe that, man, but man, that's sad, bro. That's fucking sad, dude. If you don't feel nothing like watching some of these videos and hearing some of these stories, bro, and I can only imagine for some of y'all that's been in these tornadoes or been near the situation or seen the devastation, like, it's just, I can't put myself in y'all's shoes, but I still feel like, damn, I can still connect to the sense of like him saying that to his mom and then him passing away, bruh. That shit sucks.
his daughter, as the tornado would wipe away his house as well. While very little could survive a tornado of this strength, it's hard.
Maybe if you fuckers didn't use cheap fucking material, they might have had a chance more. Fucking
Not to
sorry
imagine
fucks.
how different these stories would have been if the homes were built up to proper standards.
Oh,
Past
yeah.
the neighborhood, the tornado began
Exactly.
to wobble in intensity.
Proper
Coincidentally,
standard, bitch.
right as it
Wanna be
approached
cheap.
a mountain ridge,
But you ain't gonna charge
it would
nobody
still
cheap for no
remain on
fucking
the
house.
ground, shredding poorly built homes as it entered the small community of El Paso, Arkansas. One woman would
Paso.
pass away
I
in
just
her
think
mobile
El Paso,
home
Texas
as it was
when I hear
thrown
that.
in the air by the tornado and destroyed. And just east of her home, the tornado would dissipate at 8:07 p.m., exactly 1 hour after the tornado had touched.
That fucking tornado was an hour long. Good God. Bro, I'm not no tornado expert. I'm not, y'all. I'm learning this shit as we go. But I'm pretty sure an hour long tornado is crazy. They don't happen often. Fuck.
Touchdown. The communities of Mayflower and Vilonia are utterly decimated. By the morning, 16 people had lost their lives, including multiple children. Despite the intensity, the National Weather Service in Little Rock would release a final rating of EF4 for the tornado, shy of the highest end EF5 intensity. The survey would become an extreme talking point in how we rate tornadoes. Despite the rating, however, the families and communities affected would be forced to live with the scars left for over a decade now.
Good Lord.
Vilonia still continues to recover. Thank you for watching.
Memory of Ian Gates. Man, bro. We already watched more. I guess we gotta watch Bridge Creek next. 1999. Y'all know the quality gonna be trash on that. I'm talking about video. TRX does a great job with shit. But I'm talking about like the video footage. But I still feel for that kid and that mama. I still feel for that mom. That kid. I feel for that guy and his wife with the home built storm shelter and the fucking door fucking gave in. And she passed away. But yeah, nah, that kid, man, sending that text, man, it's heading right for me, mama. I love you. Or goodbye. At least he got to tell his mama goodbye, I guess. But that shit's sad, bro. But hey, look again. If the home was built right, maybe he would have had a chance. Can't guarantee it because it's a fucking tornado. You don't know, but that sucks, man. But hey, man, look. Like, share, subscribe, comment with your boy, man. We're going to check out that Bridge Creek next. It's your boy, the one J. Osh. And I'm out. He.